All right, so we're gonna give it one more second, see if anybody else is on here, and then we will go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we are here today to talk about how social media can help your coalition. Just to introduce myself, I am Abigail Newland, and I work at Preferred Family Healthcare in Kirksville, Missouri, and so I'm the prevention specialist for Service Area 13. You can see right here in the middle of our map, these are the areas I cover, and my coworkers cover the rest of these counties. A couple technical things before we really get started. If you notice on the bottom left hand of your screen, that's the chat box. So if there's any questions, please feel free to write them in there, and I will answer any questions I can at the end. If you can't hear me or if I need to slow down, feel free to use that chat box for sure. The bottom right hand of your screen is handouts, and you don't have to download those, but feel free. Those are just resources for you. You can download those now or after the webinar is over. But if everybody is on and everybody can hear me, we will go ahead and start. So we'll start off here and start talking about how coalitions, the beginning process of maybe building a coalition or just in general getting things started. So noticing some of these quotes or thoughts, I think a lot of coalitions probably have been at this point before. We know that coalitions don't appear out of thin air. And so there's always planning at some point. And so what comes with planning is gaining people. How do we get stakeholders involved? How do we get people to the meeting? Do we have a flyer? Do we have a handout? Do we have a packet? Are we all saying the same message to get people involved in our group? And so all these questions come up. Planning, we think about trying to start assessment throughout the community, all of these things. But coalitions are always planning somehow, some way, whether it's a meeting or to get people to something or an event, whatever it might be. But there's a million different avenues to reach people. What are we going to do? What's our strategy? And so that's kind of the topic of today. So we'll talk a lot about that. We'll really focus on one social media platform in general, but feel free to bring up others, and I'll mention a couple as we go on. So you think about what you're using to reach people now. It might be, this is a big list of communication channels. I'm sure coalition is using some or a handful or one or two of these communication channels to reach people. Right, really common ones are meetings, emails, publications. Might be putting some PSAs out there or some press releases about your new coalition. If you have somebody from the paper on your coalition, you might have newspaper running all the time, and that's fabulous. Something that's missing on this list is social media. So social media is a really big piece of this, and so we'll talk a lot about that today. That's kind of the big heart. This is a list of the most used platforms in the United States. So, of course, this is a little overwhelming. Not everybody's going to use all of these platforms, but social media in itself has lots of different media platforms within that. We know that the web, and we're in the middle of the digital age, so media is everything, and we want to be using it for sure. If we want to reach people, we want to get people's attention, we need to be using media. So that list is overwhelming, and so this is kind of how we're going to narrow it down to figure out what channel we want to use. Because how do you just pick from a list, right? Do I need to use Messenger? Should I be on Reddit? Whatever it might be. So thinking about who is the target is how we're going to narrow that down and pick the platform that we want. And so, if our target is youth, we might use Instagram, Snapchat, more apps targeted towards them and we know that they're using constantly. But if we're targeting parents, community members, local business owners, faith leaders, who is the majority of our coalition members? The majority of our coalition members are adults. So we think about those people might wear one of these hats, but they also might wear multiple of these hats. Just because they own a business, they could also be a parent. They can be involved in many different sectors of the community. But in general, our target audience, when we're talking about planning events, getting people to our meetings, building capacity, we're going to probably be focusing towards our adult population. And so looking at this chart over here, we can see that the YouTube and Facebook have been the top two. And that's of February 2019. But I can say with confidence, those are probably just still the top two if we were to redo that survey this month. So top one's Facebook and YouTube. YouTube, of course, I know YouTubing is becoming such a popular thing, but we think about Facebook is probably the central hub. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And so we know that most adults, personally, I know they use Facebook, but it's very popular and it's going to keep getting popular. Adults are still going to be on there. So this is the main platform that we're going to talk about today and how it can be beneficial to your coalition. This is really great. This 80,000 sites through Facebook Connect. And so when we say Facebook Connect here, this is just basically an interweb integration of all of these different websites, and it basically brings everybody's information, and it's easy to connect from website to another, and it's all through Facebook. And so to put that in perspective, so according to Facebook, 2/3 of the top 100 websites in the United States use Facebook Connect, and 50% of all of the websites all over the world use Facebook Connect. So to put in perspective how many people are using it, and why we're going to pick that as our central hub, and why we're going to pick that as our platform choice. If this is really great at the bottom, we're talking here about just how many people use it. The average Facebook user has 130 friends, and 7 in 10 U.S. adults are using it. Over here, of course, I included this chart. Newspaper circulation is decreasing. Of course, we're still going to always have people buying newspapers, driving by billboards, subscribing to newsletters. Those platforms are great, and people are going to still keep using that. But this is what technology and social media is doing to other communication channels. People are going to Facebook for information. They're getting their information passively while scrolling through social media instead of seeking it out in the paper or seeking it out on Fox News, or watching it, on the television, whatever that might be. But so I'll give you a great example. So if we wanted to implement a new policy in our school or community, whatever it might be, if we post that on Facebook, 40 people read it, the coalition shares it, more people read it, and then 12 more people share it. So instead of just talking, so now we've had 52 people share it or read it, but now instead of just getting just the 52, we've also gotten all of their friends. So each one has 130 friends. Now we've touched thousands of people. And of course, if we're talking about small communities, people probably have mutual friends. But in general, you get the idea that this platform can help us build capacity and just, get our reach completely out there and blow those numbers out of the water than what they might be right now. So, again, talking about how Facebook is just everything these days, everything is revolved around it. We talk about trying to get our message to people. We think about, we have a meeting once a month. We have newsletters, quarterly, newspaper weekly, all of this stuff. When we see people in person, you never know when you're going to run into somebody. You think it might be next week, but it might be a month. But everybody uses Facebook. Not everybody, I guess. The average person uses Facebook probably an hour a day, and that's the average. So most people are using Facebook more than that. So if we want to get our information out there and we want people to know it today, we have a public announcement, or we have a meeting tomorrow, or we need so many volunteers or so much donation by the end of the weekend. Facebook is where you need to be. People are going to get their information there long before they see it or hear it somewhere else. So just reiterating why we need to be using Facebook and how social media can be helping out your coalition, getting your message out there quickly and efficiently. That's the goal. So 1/3 of all Facebook users are here in the US. And this is great, and it puts it in perspective also. This American Idol, 20 million viewers, but Facebook has 100 million American members. And so the US likes Facebook. That's where they're at. That's where they're looking to get their info. And so as a coalition, you want to create a business page, and you want to be out there sending your message and providing information. So you want to be where people go to. Of course, we'll talk throughout the day. I don't want the impression to be taken away from this that this is the only platform that you should be using. You have to keep having meetings, right? Keep sending your newsletter. That's great. Keep posting in the regular paper. All of that is fabulous. People are still going to see that. You want to see the same message in multiple different ways on multiple different platforms. But this is just a great one to integrate. But definitely keep using your other ones if they're working, if they're comfortable, if they're reaching the target audience that you want it to be. So I put this in here. We won't spend a whole lot of time on this just because there's so many videos out there to explain how to create a business page. So it's pretty simple. They're very easy step how to. You can type in pretty much anything you want to use it for, and there'll be a specific video to how to create that page. and use it to the best of its ability for sure. But running through this, so this stuff is very simple, right? Name, description, photos, just the basics. Make sure you're doing a business Facebook page. There's lots of benefits that come with making a business Facebook page. We don't want to do this on our personal level because our personal Facebook pages are separate from businesses and organization pages. There's perks to having a business page, so we definitely want to go that route and keep it professional and away from, our personal. Some of those advantages are you can schedule your posts ahead of time. So, you can schedule posts to pop up on Facebook over the holiday without actually having to go in on Christmas Eve or, the week of Thanksgiving or something and putting that in. You can schedule those ahead of time, and you can manage your unpaid ads and also paid ads if you guys decided to do that as well. So, name your page something that people are going to recognize, whether that's the name of your coalition, or think about what words they're going to type in that are going to correlate and make Facebook take them to you. We want it to make sense. The profile photo and the cover photo, those are important because they are the first impression of your page. And I'll talk about that on our next slide a little bit, why those are so important. But a profile photo or a cover photo that is either members of your coalition, a campaign related to the goal of your coalition, it just needs to correlate with what's going on. When we talk about the description also, use that to your advantage. That's how people are going to get what you have a little bit to explain why you want people to join or why they should come to your meeting or why they should donate, this and that. So that would be a really great place to include your mission and vision statement as well. So keep in mind, right, this call of action at the bottom, this is all optional. Not all places have to have one, but it's just easy to put a phone number there. But it's also really great if you guys do have a website or, another platform that you're using, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it might be, to take people to that as well. But a call to action button is intentional, and so it's very nice to have. If someone on your coalition has a blog, something like that, it could be a donate button. If there's an assessment or a survey you want somebody to take, that is just a great opportunity to put there, and people don't have to use it, but the option is there, and that's really important and nice. So I just mentioned this a minute ago and why photos are important. And so has anybody ever heard anybody say something like this? I couldn't find you. It was hard. I looked, didn't see you, stuff like that. Just talking about how photos make such a big impression, but that's why everything needs to correlate together. So this is an example. So if I were to search for MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, on Facebook, I type in Mothers Against Drunk Driving in the search bar, and all of these come up. And so, if you are on Facebook already, that it's just not one thing that comes up. Groups come up, people come up, pages come up, lots of different things come up. So then you start scrolling and you start having to compare names of organizations. You start having to look at the profile pictures and see, is that legit? Is that what I want it to be? This and that. So if I'm looking for MAD, I know that their colors are red and black. And so out of these photos on the right, which one of these photos do you think I would correlate more closely with the actual coalition? Probably the top photo, right? As cute as the Christmas photo is at the bottom, and as easy as it is to want to be festive and in the holiday season, right? Cover photos and profile photos are not for this type, right? Those are first impression photos, and they need to represent your organization, and they need to tell people, what's up, this is what we're doing, this is who we're representing, this is what we're about. So definitely to make sure that makes sense and make it easy for people to find us, which just goes to show, talking about your brand, building your page, creating your page, make sure that it is done, that you're fully committed to that before you start telling people and start advertising that, because you don't want, to just create it and it be half empty, no description, or, a blurry cover photo, something like that. And then people are confused and asking questions and can't find you. If you're going to have the page, I fully commit. Definitely put some effort into that because it'll be worth it in the long run. This is the face of your organization on social media. So this is what people are going to think about, talk about, share, show other people when they are talking about your coalition. So first impressions are important. So this is a lot, but we're talking about how social media can help your coalition, and this is just so much that your coalition could be getting, right? And so that's the takeaway from this is just it's kind of a missed networking opportunity. It's just a missed capacity building opportunity if you're not using it. But these are some big highlights, right? Reaching a large audience quickly. I talked about that. And I have some real life examples here in a minute. But they drive targeted traffic, build capacity. It's free. Of course, you can do paid advertisements through your business page. But in general, right, we're trying to build relationships with people, community members, partnerships. So it's okay to brag, when people are integrated throughout the community. Post photos, brag, that it's so great that the local commissioners at the meeting. Post that on Facebook. That's fabulous. People want to know that. But this is important. Stay in the public's eye. So if you want to be on people's mind, you want people to be talking about you, you need to be using a social media platform because, right, that's what people are talking about. I saw this on Facebook. Did you see this video? There was a work challenge on Facebook. You'll hear that integrated in conversations. If they're not yours, I'm sure you're hearing them from people that are around you, coworkers, friends, things like that. People are on Facebook. So you want to be on there too. You want to be in their eye and you want to be in their conversations. It's an easy way to gain volunteers, remind people about meetings, lots of different stuff like that. Implement programs or events. So that's really great. Get people out there, get your numbers. And then, of course, evaluation. And I will do another webinar on evaluation in a couple months. But there's survey tools and poll tools to use through Facebook as well. And there's videos for everything. So if you have a question about Facebook, YouTube it. There's lots of videos out there, simple, how to do everything. One thing that's really great about social media and how it can help your coalition, you think about if we're giving out flyers about information or meetings, people can lose flyers. People can forget where they saw information, but people can't forget information that's online because it's always online. So they can just pull out their phone, type in a couple of words, and they found, when the meeting is, or they found what the school event is hosting this weekend, right? Our phones are always with us, so the information is always with us, and that's a really important tool. Okay. So we're talking about becoming a resource in the media. We want you to have well-supported messages and well thought out. So, of course, I want you to have a business page and I want you to post your message and get yourself out there on the media platform as here's our coalition, here's our vision, this is what we want and we want you to be a part of it. But community connectedness is easy on social media, but you have to think about double check the material you're posting, right? Our coalition, we need to gain credibility and that doesn't necessarily happen overnight. So we need to post, supportive messages, valuable information. We don't just want to be posting text-only data with no call to action or just sharing things that we just read the title. We, make sure you know what you're sharing. We don't want to cause issues down the road for sharing something that actually doesn't correlate with what the goal of the coalition is. Just keep yourself out of trouble that way. But media creates credibility and it drives the public opinion about your group and what you're doing. And so it's important what you're posting. That's the impression that you're going to give people, just the same as when you describe it to them in person, you're giving the impression of, is this something I want to be involved in? Is this something I care about? And so think about that when you're making your posts. Have a sense of ownership. Change is happening all the time. Have your coalition involved. Make sure everybody's on the same page. And this is all important because Facebook does have algorithms. I'm so sorry. But they target and narrow people's news feed. And so not everybody that you are friends with or follows or I guess if they follow your page, they'll see it, but you don't see everybody's everything. So just because there's 5,000 people in your community, that doesn't mean everybody's going to see it. So if they've unfollowed or don't like things related to substance use or students or mental health, whatever it might be, suicide, your information might never pop up on their timeline. So we're not going to hit everybody, which is why this is so important, that first impression, the photos, the credibility, all of that is because you want to get that first impression, like or follow or whatever it is, because then your message will keep popping up on their news feed. But if they ignore it or they can choose to unfollow you or to not see anything else from you, that's not what we want, because then our message will never show up on their timeline again. So that's one thing. It can be good and bad. But We're talking about the algorithms and about how narrowing feeds, it can be beneficial. It can be make it a little harder for us at times, but interactions with friends. So it's not all about numbers and getting likes and shares and views, but at some point in the beginning, it is a little bit, because the more that all gets passed around, the more people notice it. And so the more people will start seeing that message on their timeline and what you post consistently. And so it's important in the beginning, but we don't want to get just focused on that stuff long term. But we want to get that message out there. So we want to, making it public. It's nice to point out that we talk about our personal Facebooks. We usually have privacy settings. So we usually have it set to friends or friends of friends or private, or, there's a setting that only you can view some certain stuff. But when we talk about business page and coalition and organization pages, you want to make sure that those are public, because you want anybody and everybody to be able to see what you're posting, the community. You are not, even if you have a lot of friends, there's a lot of people that you could be missing if you're just posting it to just the friends of the organization or the coalition Facebook profile. So change those settings to public on your business. Definitely double check that that's going on. So I included these are some personal examples from one of our coalitions. This example here on the left is really great. So this is from their coalition Facebook page, and this is actually pinned to the top of their Facebook wall. And so you can do that, and there's that option. I'll bring this arrow over here. But this right here, you can pin it to the top of your wall. So anytime someone visits their Facebook page, this is the first post that they see all the time. And I think that's really great. Most community members, if they live in Trenton, Missouri, they probably care about the air quality. They're breathing it. Their family is breathing it. And so that might bring them in and think, oh, this is great. Thanks for providing this information. I can look at this anytime I want, but very helpful. Text and photo, a link to the information, all great stuff. So then we move over here, and this one is just simple, and it doesn't have to be anything more than simple, right? Just a reminder about the meeting, location, time, easy peasy, just a quick reminder. It wouldn't be any different than reminding somebody in person, hey, don't forget the meeting tomorrow. It's just in a different communication channel, and it's just a different way. A reminder's a reminder, but great example, simple but effective. This one is really great because it has a call to action. If this coalition just posted, this is another one of our local coalitions, but if this coalition had just posted a photo and just included hashtag opioids and nothing else, if someone was scrolling through Facebook, would that send the same message as it does now? Probably not. They might just scroll by that and think, yeah, addiction's hard, like it, move on. But with this call to action, it's really intentional in pulling people out of, this could be talking to me like if I'm struggling, right? Here's the number. We want you to get help. There is help available. Call this number if you are struggling. It's very intentional, very powerful, and it's very nice, and it sends a great message. So we're talking about getting our message out there efficiently, reaching as many people as possible, building capacity, getting involvement. We want to engage everybody. And so once you've created your Facebook page, your business page, there's settings here on the left. So these options will come up. And again, there's videos out there if you need help. But you can specifically set ages, gender. You can, include education, demographic. You can type in keywords to target specific sectors. So if you're trying to get a sector into your organization that you're missing, whether that's law enforcement or teachers or environmentalists, whoever it might be, right? You can use Facebook to kind of hone in on some of those groups, or you can just keep it as wide as possible to reach as many people that you can. 7,000 is quite a few. So, but those settings are there, so don't be afraid to adjust them. We talked about reactions, comments, shares, views, all of that. We want to increase reach. We're talking about getting people involved. You never know who is going to cling to the information that you share. So the more people seeing it, the more chance to build an opportunity to build stakeholders and gain partners. So let's talk about, so I gave those examples. Some of them were text, some of them were text with photos. I'll give a couple more examples here in a minute, but let's talk about videos because they hold the sway on Facebook. And so we talk about engagement, shares, all of that. Videos gets people's attention. Videos make people pay attention, and that's what we want. So this is when compared to YouTube, videos shared on Facebook, then videos actually uploaded through Facebook, there's 10 times more reach. And so that's something to think about also, is that we can share videos or we can upload them from YouTube, but uploading our own videos on Facebook increases reach. So this is another one of our coalitions here in Caldwell County. This is really great. So you think about, if they only had text here, somebody might scroll right by that and not even acknowledge that it was a post. But adding photos gets people to stop. People want to support causes and people that they know personally and that they care about. And so photos of people make people stop. It makes them pay attention. And so this is great for a coalition because now you've got my attention. I'm paying attention to your post, and now I'm going to read the message you provided with the photo. What is the person I like in this photo doing or a part of? Maybe I should be a part of it as well. This one on the right, posting pictures of local students is really important because it sends the message to stakeholders or community members that your coalition is actually putting your words into action. You say you're trying to help students, you say you're working on youth, substance use, but you're actually putting it into action, and that's nice for people to see. Facebook should be to showcase accomplishments, what's going on, keep people involved. Community members want to be a part of public success, so involve them, involve other people, show it off. That's the whole point. We want to be in the face of the public eye, and this media platform is how you're going to do that. It's going to help you for sure. So this is an example to wrap up what I've been talking about when talking about photos and text and this and that and different posts. But these examples, these are from our Prevention Resource Center Facebook page. And these two on the left, if you can see the highlighted numbers here, these text alone posts reached, 60 and 68 people. Text only, that's great, awesome. If we look at this example on the right, this is a message and a photo. These are our local Spirit employees out of Edina, Missouri. But these gals reached 685 people, with one post. And so this is the message really that how social media can help your coalition. You could be reaching 685 people with one post as well. And that's what we want. We want you to be able to reach people and get your message to as many people as possible without exhausting yourself, with a million different communication channels, but also not getting anywhere. So, but we're going to talk about why videos are so important. Videos, when we talk about creating them, you want to shoot for evoking emotion, use local people, try to do as high quality as you can for sure. But it's a great way to spotlight the work that you're doing. It's a great way to spotlight coalition members that are doing a lot. Successes, share that, highlights, awards, great things going on in the community, anything like that, right? Put a spotlight on that with a video. There's always the potential for virality. So there's to go viral. If people like it, it's easy to share. It's an easy way to expose it to networks and reach people that you're not already reaching. And the good thing with going viral, right, that starts to get out of your control. And so if you guys do something great, the state might see it, and somebody from another country might see that, and the world might see it. And that might be a lot of attention for you and your coalition and your community. And that might end up being a positive thing, maybe increasing outcomes, increasing capacity. Maybe there's a potential for grant money, whatever it might be, but it makes people pay attention to you. Hey, we're here, we're doing things. That's great. That's what you want. Search engine visibility. This is really great because it's just like YouTube. You think about when you go to YouTube, you type in words in the bar to find your video. The same thing happens with Facebook. And so this is important as a coalition because you want to be posting videos. You want to be sharing important videos that are going on, because if someone goes to Facebook and types in a couple of words, your profile is going to come up that you shared that or you posted that. And so people are going to link that together as in, oh, I might have the same interests as them. They like the same things as I do. Maybe I should look at their page, or I'll click on them to see who they are. Who is it that's sharing the same video as me? And then you have potential for people to like your page or whatever it might be. And then, of course, increasing the chance that they'll see your messages in the future. But this last one, planning them according to the audience. It's hard to make a video generalized to everybody. to target everybody you want to, youth, parents, everybody in the community. You make less of an impact when you generalize like that, although it might seem easier, because of course there's always a time commitment with any kind of platform or communication channel you're using. But you should never do it, as a one size fits all. It's okay to make personalized videos towards certain sectors. So if you're trying to target a certain group, if you have a message or a campaign for a specific demographic or age group, target that video towards them. You'll be more impactful, and the people that you're trying to reach are going to pay attention more to that because it's about them, right? People care about what's personal to them and what's important to them. This is an example, and I will pull this over here because I can't actually play it right there on the screen. But this is an example from our prevention resource page to just show you how successful and impactful videos really can be. We did this campaign over a week's time for Drug and Alcohol Facts Week. And this was just the first day, and this first post reached 1,112 people. Second day, 1,277 people. We were putting drug facts into videos with our prevention staff, but we all live in this community, so people recognize us, they stop, they look. By this time, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, people were asking us, when's your next video? What are you going to do for your next video? They were invested. They wanted to see the outcome. They wanted to see the next video. This last one, of course, is our blooper reel. The Friday we did a suicide fact. We were able to get our message across, but also engage people in the same way and make them pay attention. Drug facts, suicide, and then we did the bloopers reel. We released that on, I think, Monday to just kind of keep it real and fun and relatable, just to say, we're real people, we really care, things like that. But that was a really successful campaign. We got a lot of page follows after that, engaged a lot of people, including employees in our building, which was very powerful for sure. We're talking about integrating social media into your coalition. We wanted to help you. Of course, I want to remind you to do whatever you're comfortable with. If it's a little outside your comfort zone, try it out, see if you like it, but definitely don't overdo it. So there's lots of platforms that we talked about today. There's lots here on the left, YouTube, town hall meetings, whatever it is. It's easy to want to do it all because it's to get the mentality of, well, let's reach the most people possible, Try to stay out of that mentality. Use the communication channel that's going to reach your target audience the best. We are not going to target youth by posting things in the newspaper or magazines, probably. Think logical, think realistic, get the most bang for your buck type of mentality, but use whatever strategy works for you. We want to get our message out there, but we also want people to remember what we're saying. And so we don't want to overwhelm people with information. But that's easy to do. So this is a really nice quote here at the bottom. Say 9 things, they remember none. Say 3 things, they remember 1. Say 3 things 3 times, they remember all 3. So it's okay to use multiple communication channels. Send the same message on all those channels. We think about lots of advertisements that we can think of. Got Milk, the suicide campaigns, lots of things come to mind. And that's because we've seen it a lot of times. We see it all over the place. And so we remember. But don't be afraid to hone on what's successful. So if you do use a communication channel and you had success with certain information that you shared, don't be afraid to repeat that information. Don't be afraid to share it again. People liked it the first time, they probably are going to like it the second time. So this is really great to kind of wrap up the webinar today, and this is a really great, I know there's a lot of information on this slide, but this is just a strategic plan of, how to impact change in your community. And it's really great because we can just see how social media or media platforms in general just seamlessly fit into each one of these categories effortlessly, right? It's easy, it's there, everybody's using it, so we should be too. We definitely want to capitalize on the networking potential that social media can bring to the coalition. But for example, so we see that it fits in here. I've included on the right bottom here a snip from our local high school's Facebook page. And it's actually the superintendent made a new vaping policy. You could see that this is actually from the local newspaper. It originally was from the paper and then was shared on Facebook afterwards, just trying to increase reach. Of course, parents, if they have athletes or students being in the newspaper, they're probably going to purchase it, but not everybody might. We want to capitalize. We want people to see that information, so they put it on Facebook as well. But that was a great strategy, using multiple communication channels, but using social media ultimately to help out the school. And, this would be something great that the coalition could share as well. So we look through all of these. Social media can help change community norms, promote family activities going on in the community. There's always support group information or different kind of groups. The coalition can share that information on Facebook. Campaign materials, prevention strategies, your PRCs or your coalition leaders have access to many campaign materials. Post that kind of stuff. That's going to send the message of what your coalition is about, what we support. Gain buy-in for community changes, whether that's, policy change, signage and new tobacco signage, or including vaping in signage, whatever it might be. But changing the rules, policies, government leaders, again, I talked about earlier, tag people. Social media gives you the opportunity to brag on people and showcase. And so tag individuals, tag local partners, tag people that you donated. You can put the @ sign and tag a person. If you start typing it in a hashtag that's trending in your community, all of that will be linked together to increase people seeing your message. And that's what we want. But yeah, social media is kind of that piece of the puzzle that your coalition might not know it's missing, but maybe they need it for sure. So here's my resources that I used, and there might be a few I didn't put in there, but I included some of the primers in the bottom right hand of your screen, and a couple of media handouts. There's a really good tips for your coalition Facebook page PDF there, so feel free to download that. Are there any questions before we wrap up and finish up? If there are no other questions, here is my information. If you have a question that you would like to talk about privately, feel free to email me, anewland@pfh.org.